ready, go. August 6, 2023, Dan Grider, Probable Cause. This is going to be a very unusual and lengthy episode. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I appreciate you joining us with us in the live chat. Please jump in there and tell me where you're calling from, where you're checking in from, and where your internet basement is so I can say hi to you. Last week we had about 3,000 people in the chat room live, and last week's video did really well. It did 139,000 views, but it did 1.5 million minutes watched just in 6 days, which is really good. Generally, if a YouTube video does a million minutes watched in its lifetime, that's really good. So most of mine are doing very good, and I appreciate that. A lot of you are catching on to what I'm doing. I'm trying to make all of my videos with no advertisements so you can watch them straight through. The music, I've excluded taking any cover tunes or anything. This music that you can hear at the very end of this is me and Dylan, where it's our attempt to write a song. We're going to perform it. That's the one that you're hearing right now. And the whole theme is, I just want you to fly. What does that mean? Flight is the ability to create lift and sustain flight. Lack of lift is what's causing our deaths. Bad decisions, lack of lift. I just want you to fly. I know I've generated a lot of haters out there, but I'm gonna stop and take this moment to tell you, heart to heart here, what I'm doing. I'm trying to make a change here in our general aviation fatal accident rate. That's really the whole purpose of this YouTube thing, everything that I've got going. I am not doing this for ulterior motives. I'm trying to help us, and I'm trying to help all of us for free. It does generate a lot of haters, but I don't have a lot. I want you to know I got a donation last week for $2 to clean my vest, and I probably do need to clean my vest, but I want you to know the reason my vest is dirty is because it does need cleaning. But what's the purpose of the vest in August in Atlanta, Georgia? It's so that it can cover up the stains on my shirt, my oil stains on this shirt. I don't really have a lot of clean shirts. Every shirt I got's got oil stains on it. That's the reason I wear a vest. I keep duct tape on my watch because my watch is busted. Everything I've got, GoPros, everything I've got a Honda with almost 500,000 miles on it that I bought brand new. When I travel, I don't travel expensively. I sleep anywhere, I'll eat anything, and I'll stay anywhere I need to stay. This is not a money thing for me, and I want you to know it. I got this hate mail from this person. I want to show you this email that I put on the screen. You know, I don't talk a lot about this, but my wife died from cancer about 12 years ago. I finished raising Drew and Dylan by myself, and we did well together. We suffered through, and I created two boys out of this that you would be proud of. Both of these men are stellar individuals. They're smart, they're capable, they're polite. They don't ask a lot, they don't expect a lot, they don't demand a lot, and they are not expecting anything other than what they work for. I got this email from this person, and I'm going to read it to you here. It says, Dan, I'm glad your wife is dead. She's better off dead than spending the rest of her life with you. This person is a female in Texas associated with the CAF. This has to do with the Devyn crash, and I know this person. I established correspondence and returned a nice email back and forth. I'm eventually going to tell you exactly who this is and show this person's picture someday, but not today. This is what I'm up against on the YouTube channel. This has to do with the Devyn T6 crash. At the very end of this video, I'm going to go into that in detail. I do have more to say about the Devyn T6 crash that occurred at Oshkosh this year. I'm going to give you my conclusion on it, and I think when you see what I have to say, I think you're going to conclude that is what happened. And I'm very sorry. I never got a chance to meet this young lady, but I'm sure from everything I've heard that she was a very nice person, and the world is a lesser place without her. There was also a guy in the airplane too. Not much has been said about Zach, the passenger, almost like he did not even exist in the limelight of Devyn. And I'm going to cover all of that, the fascinating aspect of all of that, and that's going to be at the very end of this video. In the meantime, we got to suffer through it. I do have July and August general aviation fatal accident data that we're going to get to, and we're going to jump in and do a few other housekeeping items first. And then at the very, very end, you're going to see me and Dylan on guitar. We haven't laid this track down yet. Poor Dylan doesn't even know what's coming or what we got to do, but I guarantee you he'll be up for it. He'll grab a guitar and he'll sit down. We'll jam it. So it's going to be amateur. It's not going to be great, but it's going to be at the very end of this. Let's jump in and let's get a start on tonight's video. Welcome. So somebody sent me this clip. This is a bad go-around. You can see this. This is... the sound is slightly delayed due to the wind and the echo here, but this is a go-around. This happened up in Canada, and you can see this thing happen. I'm putting it on the screen right now. This is what a stall spin. This is a bad go-around, and it impacted the ground vertically. Last night, I launched a video concerning a Delta Airlines evacuation. It came on the heels of Blanco's video on the same subject. I did mine last night. Well, since my video last night, I got a bunch of emails. I'm still fairly well connected with buddies at Delta who gave me the inside track. I'm going to tell you right now, I was pretty much on the money on my Delta 757 story from last night. If you want to go back and look at, that's the last upload previous to this one that came out last night, the Delta 757 evacuation in Atlanta, Georgia. The girl, FO, was the pilot flying. She definitely was on OE, and she was definitely brand new. Now, here's the problem. Almost every flight at Delta right now is an OE. That's operation experience, IOE, initial operating experience. This particular airplane landed with the auto skid, anti-skid system in op. On a 7.5, the anti-skid does go in op. You can put that on MEL, which is minimum equipment list. It is legal to fly the airplane with the anti-skid in op. Now, the problem with that is she's brand new. What is the one thing that the captain on this airplane cannot undo? He can't override her brakes. If she locks up on those pedals, jams her toes to the stops and holds them there, he cannot undo that with anything except his voice. In this case, they hit hard. It freaked her out. She is on the brakes. She popped 2 tires by having brakes locked in the first part of this thing, and that's how come not only did they pop tires, but they skidded, and this was purely pilot error. I feel sorry for this girl. I feel sorry for this captain, this IOE captain. Very unfortunate situation. The fix to this is going to be anything MEL, especially anti-skid. Don't let the newbie have the landing. That's specifically what caused this one. If you want to go back and take a look, it'll make a little bit more sense to you now. Should you evacuate or should you not? Captain's decision on this. I think he sounded like a really good captain. He was hesitating making this evacuation, but he eventually did. I'm very thankful everybody got off the airplane. My video from last night is going to stay up and on the air. I won't remove that one. The timeline on it, I'm very happy with the timeline that I produced on that thing, so you can see at the very end all the frequencies combined, synced, and EQ'd, so you can see the entire thing with the transcript all the way through. Excellent learning opportunity. The one thing another pilot can never undo from the other pilot is max brake. You can't get their toes off there. That's how come every time we fly the DC-3, you've heard me on this tape over and over and over with everybody I fly. Feet on the bottom part of the pedals. Feet on the bottom part of the pedals. We're landing. We're taking off. On takeoff, feet on the bottom part of the pedals. Don't get your toes anywhere up near the top of those pedals. Feet on the bottom part of the pedals. We don't want any brakes. If there's any braking going on, I'm going to do it. Feet on the bottom part of the pedals. That's really all that happened on this Delta 757 from my video from last night. And once again, I'm very thankful. Delta, fine airline, and I'm really proud of the handling on this entire thing. Nobody got hurt, and it's a great story. Obviously, a learning opportunity for everything: firefighting, dispatchers, controllers, ground controllers, pilots, IOE people, the entire thing. I think everybody can get a really good takeaway off of this accident. I have to tell you about a special event coming up in September 22, 23, 24 is Triple Tree. I go to this thing every year, sometimes twice a year. The September fly-in is the best. Here's the website for it. Triple Tree, it's in South Carolina. It's like an 8,000-foot grass runway. This year, I'm bringing my entire band, bluegrass band. We're playing Friday and Saturday night. We're doing actually an AQP thing. It's informal. It's at a campsite. I want you to come and see us. We will be there. There's no admission other than what you owe to Triple Tree if you want to drive in or fly in. Triple Tree is fantastic. The hospitality is great there. They run a safe operation. It's totally good. We're going to be taking both the DC-3 and the Amelia Earhart Lockheed Electra. This is the Lockheed Electra that was used in the movie Amelia. The Glenn Hancock family is going with me. Also, we will have a bunch of my other bluegrass players there. I have heard Laura Savito, Jet Boss, will also be there. I haven't confirmed that yet, but I've been trying to get a word in edgewise with her for a cup of coffee. So far, she has turned me down, but it's entirely possible. I think she will probably be there at this one. Triple Tree, I want you to consider going this Friday night and Saturday night, the 23rd and 24th of September. It's free. Come and join us. I'll have further information as we go on where to find us at Triple Tree. Bring a cooler and a lawn chair and have some fun with us. We're going to be doing both AQP and bluegrass. I can play a banjo. I'm going to show you how to play the banjo on this weekend out here. I've got all my buddies showing up for this thing. I've got an acoustic sound system that you will not believe for this thing. It's going to be totally awesome. I'm hoping for good weather, which it normally is in September. You'll see me in the afternoon swimming in the river out there, and this is everything. Airplanes, swimming, bluegrass, the whole thing. It's absolutely fantastic. Triple Tree in South Carolina. Here's the website for it. You know, last week I had to move an airplane out towards the west. We took off. Everything's good. It's a really nice airplane, and moving it west with the new owner. Stopped for fuel, random fuel stop, which was on course and halfway down in a little airport called Gonzales, Louisiana. Stopped in there, quick turn on the self-serve. Fantastic little airport. You know, when you do the self-serve there, they actually come out and help you with the airplane. They'll tug it for free. They'll help you with self-serve. It's self-serve price, lowest fuel price around Gonzales. So we stopped in there. Taxiing out, we got our fuel and we were on our way in a hurry trying to make a schedule. Day VFR, everything's good. Taxiing out, we went to do our run-up in the airplane, and during the run-up, the nose gear went blank. It's a retractable airplane. We had 2 greens for the mains, but the nose gear light went out, and the throttle warning system came on with a beep beep telling us that our gear was unsafe. Well, obviously it's not safe. It's down and everything's good. It's the indicator system. It's a micro switch that is loose up in there. So we stopped, shut down, got underneath the airplane to look. The airplane had been painted recently. There was a little bit of paint you could see up on the micro switch. So we reached up in there, cleaned it, fiddled with it, bumped it, and cleaned it out a little bit. Got back in the airplane. We had 3 green. Everything's good. I thought, well, it's just a little micro switch deal. It needs a little bumping, needs a little cleaning off. So we made a takeoff. Once in the air, as soon as we rotated, that nose gear light went out again, and we didn't have the throttle warning because we had full throttle, but our nose gear light went out and the gear would not come up. Now we're in flight. We've put the gear handle to the up position. I'm not absolutely positive whether we're gear up or gear down. Feels like, due to the drag of the airplane, that the gear is still down. Can't tell for sure. What do? I said fly runway heading, wings level, DMMS, fly straight ahead, and I got on the radio, talked to the airport manager. He came out and got in his golf cart. We flew over the airport. I did not declare an emergency because it was not an emergency, and I knew we were going to get this figured out, or else we would go to a bigger airport and declare an emergency and roll the equipment. In this particular case, it's going to be a micro switch, and I'm going to get a really solid confirmation. We're on a long runway. We're day VFR, and we're going to touch down at a nice speed. We could not, after fiddling with that landing gear, we could not get nose gear to go green on us. However, I'm going to play the tape for you right now. This is the airport manager that's on the radio. He's out there right beside the runway talking to us. I got confirmation that not only the mains are down, but the nose gear is definitely down. Before we touch down, that's what he said. And here's that tape right here.
Okay. Still look good to you?
Yeah, still looking good as far as I can see right now.
All right, nose gear looks good. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm cutting the power down. No, leave the power in. We're gonna
yeah, you got 3 down for sure.
Thank you. Are we landing? Yep, we're landing. Okay.
Later in the office that day, I got to meet the whole crew down there. I've been down to this airport a couple times before. I recommend this airport. You talk about a friendly, well-run airport. This is the place. we rolled it right into the maintenance facility here, which is, I got a little video of this, of these guys. These guys helped us out. There was no promise of being on YouTube or anything like that. These guys are really good. They helped us out and troubleshot our information. We ended up staying overnight and installing a new micro switch, which is all good. Now, in the process of doing that, I did do a finish-up video with the owner of this maintenance facility located right there in the field, and here's that video. Theo, knucklehead Theo. You can tell a Cajun when you see one.
That's right.
Cajun. These guys don't even speak English. They speak this.
Como se va?
Yeah, that type of stuff. Anyway, Glencoe Aviation really hooked us up and helped us out here, and I appreciate you guys dropping what you're doing on our little maintenance deal, and we're going to get out of here. And great service, and thanks for helping us out.
Safe travels.
Absolutely. All right, going. While I was on the field down there, I noticed the Cirrus sitting out there. This is the Cirrus that was involved in the accident sometime last fall. This is the airplane that had the problem in flight. Diverted. I want you to look at the flight radar track on this thing. This is where this airplane was when it had its problem. It could have gone a little bit north and landed at this airport just north of this. Aaron Pierce has this facility up here at the next airport north. He could have turned left and headed to there. Instead, he tried to make it to Gonzales in a Cirrus. He did not have thrust, and he wasted a little bit of his energy. He got down to about 400 feet, and he popped the chute. I'm going to show you what this thing looks like. He lived, and he put that airplane in the water just off the airport. Everybody that was there that day heard it. I guess the explosion of the chute motor rocket going off is a very loud cannon sound. The chute worked even from 400 feet, and he's alive today. The airplane is sitting out here on the ramp. Let's take a look at what a Cirrus looks like after a parachute deployment. All right, while I'm down here, before I leave, still in Gonzales, Louisiana. Great place. Boy, I've had a great time down here. But, you know, last November, there was a Cirrus that popped a chute, blew the chute, and landed just off the airport here. Tried to make it to runway 17 here, came up short, popped the chute like really low. I don't know, but somewhere around 400 or 500 feet is what it looks like. That airplane is here. I'm going to show it to you. That's a Cirrus. They had some kind of a problem in flight. I don't think they declared an emergency. They were talking to ATC because they were originally IFR at 7,000 feet. Here's the radar track for it. You can see now my problem with this is ADM, aeronautical decision making. When they turned left right here, this is where they could have gone to Hammond and made a nice normal landing at Hammond. Why they turned all the way around, tried to go to Gonzales, I don't know, but bad idea because they came up short. Popping this chute on this thing, I'm going to show you the airplane, is risky business. Engine's been removed, the propeller's been removed. This airplane will never fly again. This is a carbon fiber spar. This thing will never fly again, but I'm going to show you what the parachute system looks like on this thing. When you pop the parachute, everybody was here standing outside and watched it happen. The explosion is loud. This thing comes down under parachute right here. Here's the deployment bag for this thing. That's where the parachute goes. This is where the rocket motor sits, right in here. It launches this with the rocket motor, which explains the explosion. When you pull the handle, this thing goes, and it did a nice job of setting it down. Now, once you're under parachute, all steering is gone. Wherever it comes down is where it's going to come down. Happened to hit on a campus for a community college. Didn't hurt anybody. Went in the water. Everybody lived. But coming down under parachute, you're not going to steer that parachute. So when you pull that chute, you're at the mercy of the winds and the sky gods for what's going to happen. Nice airplane. It's now completely totaled. The better thing to have done here would have been turn left. He was already on a 360 heading. Head for Hammond. Easy landing straight in Hammond. They got services, they got everything in Hammond, Louisiana. Should have gone there. That's how this airplane ended up. I'm showing you the radar track for this thing in the picture. Good lesson learned. This is where the airplane ended up. I followed it real close the day it happened. We haven't heard much about it since, but this is it. Cirrus, November 217, Sierra Yankee. So thankful that all that worked out. I've never seen inside the compartment where the parachute goes and all that kind of stuff. Very interesting. While I was down there, I ran into this other guy with a Beech 18, and boy, did I make friends. I'm going to go back down there and give this guy dual instruction in his Beech 18. He's got a little bit of maintenance stuff he's finishing on his airplane. I'm going to go back down there and donate him a couple days instruction in his Beech 18. He's very qualified. He can definitely do it. He's never soloed his own Beech 18, and he's only had it for a little while. I'm going to go back down there and make him good. I hope I can make a little training video on Beech 18 and our experience with operating the Beech 18. I think he's already pilot, he's already multi, he's already very well qualified with plenty of flight time, plenty of tail wheel time, and actually quite a bit of time in the Beech 18. Here's a little tiny video that I shot with him down in Gonzales, Louisiana. Down here in Gonzales with my new friend Brad. He owns this Beech 18. What is this thing?
It's a 1952 Beech 18 3NM.
3NM, okay.
Yep.
All right, but
So
it's still 985s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you bought this thing when?
About 2 years ago.
Okay. And your goal is to fly it.
Absolutely.
I want to help you fly it. Now, we got a little bit of stuff we got to get done first,
Okay.
but I will come back down here. Are you a Cajun?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
I've met some Cajuns before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's pretty cool down here. I like the whole Cajun thing. And
Well,
you got
it's
seafood.
pretty hot down here right now.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You're gonna be good in this airplane. You got plenty of total time, plenty of tail wheel time. I can definitely teach you how to fly this airplane safely. And I think if I came down here, spend a couple days with you in Cajun land here, it'd be a lot of fun. And I'd be glad to come back down here and work with you on this thing. It'd be totally fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's get your airplane finished up here. We got a couple little touch-up things to do here before I come back, and I'll set you straight on how to do all that stuff. And you take care of your deal, I'll take care of mine, and we'll get back down here. I had a great time in Gonzales. I actually broke down here on another airplane. We just stopped in here for gas and broke down here, so I've been here for a little while, but we're on the way back out right now. And my point is to not have you, I want you in one of my videos in a positive way, not the other way.
Right.
So I'll come down here and donate you a little bit of help here to make sure you fly this airplane safely and don't end up in one of my videos the other way.
That'd be a great.
Deal?
That's a deal.
All right, sounds good. Brad, what's your name?
Brad Arden.
Brad Arden. Gonzales?
Gonzales, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing. All right. Down here in Gonzales. How do you pronounce this thing?
Gonzales.
Gonzales? You sure?
Yeah, very sure.
We got stuck down here. This is a cool place. I mean, absolutely cool place. We got stuck here. Excellent facilities. They even have a girl that works here. She's learning to fly. She says she can fly, but I didn't know girls could fly.
Absolutely. Better than me.
Okay, well anyway, good fuel prices, good people, good service, good runway. I'm going to include a little segment on the thing that happened to me here at Gonzales with our airplane. And one of your airplane guys jumped in the golf cart and drove out there with the radio to help us, which was really cool. Dan's in-flight emergency, which wasn't really an emergency, but had a little abnormal the other day. So appreciate you guys handling it, and we are out of here. We are on the way.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, I keep track of these fatals for everything. Here's the graphic. My guy, DTSB South, put this together for me here. I'm looking at the total number of fatals, the number of July. We actually did pretty good in July of 2023, but I'm going to give you this graphic. Here's this intro slide for that. The PowerPoint's only got 2 slides on it, but the July, I want you to look at all this July stuff. Are we doing better? I think it's possible that we might be. Are we having any kind of an effect? I don't know, but we're going to keep on trying. My goal is to get this, actually the goal is 0, but I would be really happy if we could, on an annual basis, get down to less than 9 general aviation fatals per month. Each one of these is a heartbreaker. Each one of these destroys a family, and it's a complete loss. I think that we could easily, within our range, we could get down to an average of only 9 per month in America. I think the month of July at 18 was a significant improvement. I think we're in step in the right direction. I think we're on track to have 2023 be a record year in total number of general aviation fatals. Our flying is up. Number of flight hours flown is up. Our number of fatals is on the way down. I think somehow among the internet, I think we're increasing the awareness. People are learning, they're paying attention, they're learning how not to die on their airplane, and I think that's all very good. The more YouTubers, Instagram people, podcasters, and things that we can do to get the message out there. AQP for general aviation. At the very end of this video, when I get done with this here, I'm going to give you some of Dan's recommendations, some summaries that I want you to conclude with here. Before I get into the Devyn and the T6 thing, I'm going to give you a couple of Dan's best recommendations that I'm taking off of these things not to do, how to fly your airplane better. That's the whole point of this chapter. Let's take a look at July. I'm going to give you the July data here. I'm going to put it on the screen. Only a couple things here that I want to talk about here. The 918 Kilo Golf, that's the Box Canyon. This is John Van Cleve. His age 70. He made a takeoff. He did not, that's a very difficult place to take off from in Idaho, that place that he was at. He did not clear the terrain. He flew it into the terrain. That was a terrain takeoff, DVFR. 567 Victor Fox, that's the power lines one. I had the N number wrong on that previously. That was Don Pruitt, age 41, flew it into the power lines. Lots and lots of power lines. Look at the power lines accidents on this page right out here. The other one is the rotorway 162F. That's the midair from Wisconsin. And we've now found out that most likely it was probably the gyroplane that hit the rotorway. Is kind of the way it's looking. We don't have our video graphic built for that yet, but we will eventually, to show a very fluid path of both of the airplanes using ADS-B. Won't be absolutely scientific conclusive, but it's going to give you a pretty good idea. Let's take a look at August. In the last 6 days here, I'm going to give you the stuff here that's happened. On November 106 Victor Tango, that's one that happened in Georgia. That's an impossible turn. Engine failure after takeoff. Daniel Mesnard, age 67. Then on the 2nd, November 384 Sierra Charlie, that's the sport cruiser. That's an impossible turn in California. The impossible turn is not one immediately after takeoff. This is a very strange deal, and I built a graphic and included the ATC tape. This guy had a problem. He ended up on the downwind. Notice the controller starts moving airplanes right away, and eventually the controller says, look, you're clear to land any runway. Do anything you want. Just get it on the ground. Here's the tape of this in conjunction with the approximate radar tracks so you can see what happened. 2 people died on this accident. Should not have. This should have been a very simple return. He had enough energy. He did get it back around. He thought that he had to fly the entire downwind and base and land the same direction that he'd been doing his touch and goes on. Not true. He could have landed anywhere on the airport, any direction in that airplane and been totally fine. Here's the tape for this.
Wind 120 at 5.
Nice tower, Swole Cruiser 384 Sierra Charlie, we are having some power loss.
384 Sierra Charlie, you fire assistance.
Priority land name, 384 Sierra Charlie.
Say again.
Priority land name, 384 Sierra Charlie.
384 Sierra Charlie, say again.
Priority land name, 384 Sierra Charlie.
Priority landing, roger. Number 4 Sierra, number 7 Papa Mike, go around.
Go around, 7 Papa Mike.
Number 4 Sierra Charlie, runway 34 right, clear to land.
34 right, clear to land.
Number 4 Sierra Charlie, do you require assistance?
Negative, we're landing right now, 384 Sierra Charlie.
Number 903 X-ray, continue westbound.
Continuing westbound, 93 X-ray.
Jaguar 7 Papa Mike, turn right crosswind.
Turn right crosswind, 7 Papa Mike.
So 7, take it back, extend downwind, I'll call your base.
737, Tango, Quebec.
Number 4 Sierra Charlie, clear to land, any runway.
Any runway, thank you, 384 Sierra Charlie.
Number 4 Sierra Charlie, say nature of emergency.
I'm having exhaust gas system pressure issues, 384 Sierra Charlie.
903 X-ray, turn right to the downwind.
Right for the downwind, 93 X-ray.
November 697 Fox Lima. That's a 172 down in Florida. Best I can tell right now, this is a student and an instructor. This is another student lockup. When adrenaline hits and these students, their limbs freeze. They can do crazy things. This one just happened the other day in Florida. This was on the 4th at 12:04 p.m. I don't have the person's name. I think the instructor's name was Felipe, but it was definitely a student deal down there. The Glass Star 617 Golf, 10:18 a.m. on the 4th out in Idaho. Kevin Yeagis, age 63. This is definitely a medical. There's no other explanation for this. This guy took off and he either stroked or heart attack or something, but he had plenty of room and plenty of everything. The airplane was working fine. The controls were working fine. He had just flown it in there. This, according to his family, is a medical incapacitation on takeoff, and that comes from the people out there near and dear to Kevin that has forwarded that information. There was nothing wrong with the airplane or the airport or the weather. There's no reason for him to flown it into the earth like he did that day. Very sorry for this loss for Kevin's friends and family. Very close-knit community out there. Everybody knew Kevin. Great guy, great pilot, been flying a long time. Age 63 and a glass star. And we don't have any further information on the status of what his medical situation was. I haven't even looked it up. I don't know. I'm just really sorry. But that's really all that happened on this. Kevin Yeages, age 63. The next one is November 13384. This is a 172M. This is night spatial disorientation. Oswald Fountains, age 19, was the student. We don't know for sure if this is a fatal. I'm pretty sure it is because the airplane has not been found yet. They're 2 days missing out over the Atlantic. The radar track ended abruptly, but no further information. If you look up this N number, you can see where this thing went. This splashed down in the ocean someplace, and nothing has been found. They haven't even found a wreckage yet. Happened at night. They're out there over the Atlantic in a 172 at night. I'm not exactly sure how that was a great idea. They had already shot one approach and missed approach and climbed back up, so I don't know what was going on, but 2 people on board on that Cessna 172. The last one that I know of is number 4184 Golf. This is a Nanchang CJ6A in Colorado. The guy's name was Carl Benda. I don't have his exact age. I think, from everything I can tell, he's about 52 or 53, somewhere out there. I don't know what happened. I think this was a formation flight. It's a green CJ6, and you can see the airplane right here. I really, it's just too fresh. We just don't have any good information on what the thing could be. Let's go over some recommendations. I'm going to read these off to you here real quick. Remember, overall, I'm telling you right now, you little guys like myself and the little piston bangers out here, pick one: night, IMC, terrain, or ice. I prefer that you pick none. But if you have to pick one, pick only one. When you start combining night with ice and terrain, it's not going to come out good. Let's go over a couple of the other recommendations here. Put your electronics down for takeoff and landing. Don't be looking at your iPad and staring at your stuff when you're trying to fly the airplane. Brief your rejected takeoff and loss of thrust on takeoff before takeoff. Brief it. Recite your DA and gross weight before takeoff. Know what your DA and your gross weight is every time. Don't run out of gas. Are you kidding me? 30 minutes reserve day VFR is not much gas. Carry some gas. Don't run out of gas. Carry a little bit of extra. Make your personal minimum an hour's fuel if you can. Carry a little bit of extra gas. We have too many airplanes and too many deaths. Everything's working perfect. You just ran out of gas and you did not make it to the airport and you died. Good thing there's no fire because there's no fuel, but you still end up dead. Don't run your airplane out of gas. Carry a little bit of extra so you don't end up on one of these reports. Fly a stabilized approach. A stabilized approach, DMMS. Put DMMS on your airplane. Fly DMMS and VREF all day long. That's what the airliners do. Do you realize that there is no 777 spin recovery ever taught at any airline? You know why? Because we can't recover a 777 if it spins. What do we have in the 777? 767, DC-9, MD-88, Boeing 737, Airbus. What do we have? We have prevention. Nobody teaches spin recovery in an Airbus A340. We don't do it. Why? Can't get it out. All we can do is honor a minimum maneuvering speed, and everybody pay attention. Don't let that thing get slow. It's the same thing that we should be doing in GA. We're just not paying attention to what the minimum maneuvering speed is. We're not honoring it. We're letting it get too slow. There's not an owner's manual, an AFM, or a POH out there that tells you what speed to fly in the traffic pattern. There's nobody tells you what your min maneuvering speed is in any Part 23 GA airplane, and that's a crime. Figure it out for yourself, placard it, and honor it. It's going to keep you alive out there. Don't end up slow in the traffic pattern and stall your airplane based on final. It's going to happen. DMMS, it's free. Know what a stabilized approach is. You know, with all the people that I fly all the time, they fly red over red below speed all the time. Why? We gave you a PAPI and a VASI and all this vertical guidance. We gave you a glide slope. We gave you an LPV approach. You got glide slope in your airplane. What are you doing flying that low and that slow on your approach? You're going to hit power lines. You're going to hit something. You're going to lose control of your airplane. The airplane does not like it down there below VREF. It doesn't like it. You're going to get behind the power curve. Carry enough speed. I like VREF plus a little bit. I normally add a knot for grandma and 2 for my mother's grandma. I add a few knots to VREF wherever I can, especially if I've got the runway to support it. VREF DMMS, fly a stabilized approach. It's real simple. Let's go on to the next one. Don't turn around. If you have an engine failure, don't turn around. Just go straight ahead. All these airplane accidents, I talked to the guy in the Cherokee in North Carolina, had an engine failure in his Cherokee, put it into the top of the woods. He's fine. Destroyed the airplane, but he did not stall his airplane. Flew that Cherokee 140 right into the top of the trees. Proud as a peacock, opened the door and stepped out. As long as you don't stall and spin, you're going to be fine. Do not try to turn around like AOPA tells you to do. Don't do the impossible turn. The reason it's called the impossible turn is most of the time it's impossible. If you truly, absolutely know that you can do it, that's fine. Most of the time you can't. Turn a little left, a little right, straight ahead, stall it into the top of the trees, and call me, and we'll go have dinner. That's it. It's very simple. Don't fly at night. Avoid night flying. Not that I'm opposed to flying at night. I know you got to do a little bit of night flying, but if you have a choice between daytime flying and nighttime flying, I prefer daytime flying, especially single engine in the United States where there's any kind of terrain, unless you're over Kansas or something like that. Try to avoid flying at night unless you just absolutely have to. Would truly help you out a lot. Power lines, be very careful on power lines and operating where you don't know where those power lines are. That's it for my recommendations here. All those recommendations come off of this. I'm going to try to start including more recommendations more often on what I think. For each video that I put up here, it's only up 6 days, so I think once a week I'm just going to go over Dan's recommendations over and over and keep beating this into you. Here's what to do, here's what not to do. I want to keep your name off of these pieces of paper. All right, we beat around the bush here long enough. I'm going to talk about the Devyn crash, the T6 crash at Oshkosh, and I've got to do it. There's some things we got to talk about here. Let's get into it. You know, I'm not the only guy that's made a video or talked about this. The whole thing, I'm going to show you some video here. Devyn was a fine person. That's not even debatable. It's not a matter of her being female. My point is, just because you're a female does not mean that you can't fly an airplane. But in Devyn's case, just because you're female doesn't mean that you can. To do a T6 and give rides and do that kind of thing at Oshkosh requires a little bit more. And I think the people that pushed Devyn into this situation, it's very similar to the Amelia Earhart. And I'm going to back up and tell you just a little bit about Amelia. I've got a full documentary that I'm going to do. I've got all the stuff together for it someday on Amelia Earhart. But I want you to know that Amelia was not really married to that guy. She was married on a contractual basis. She was not much of a pilot. And I'm going to prove all this. I've got all the stuff. Amelia wrecked more airplanes and got lost more than you can believe. Her first claim to fame was riding in the back of an airplane across the Atlantic. She had two guys up front that wanted her to go with her on a transatlantic flight in a float plane, which was successful. But when they got back to New York after that transatlantic flight, Amelia is the one that got the ticker tape parade. Amelia was very vocal about it, said, look, I was in a sleeping bag in the back of the airplane. I didn't really fly the airplane. I don't really deserve a ticker tape parade, but she's the one that got the notoriety. That's how her career launched. Amelia actually wrecked the Lockheed Electra on her first attempt. She wrecked it in Hawaii, taking off in a rainstorm when she was still going west. The original trip for Amelia was going west. She wrecked it on takeoff on her first around the world attempt. Wrecked the airplane. They had to take the wings off, ship it back to San Francisco, fix it. When it got back to San Francisco, they decided, well, let's try it going the other way. Now they leave San Fran and they stop going to Miami, down through South America, across Africa. Did you know that when she was flying with Fred Noonan on this same ill-fated flight in Africa, Amelia Earhart got lost in Africa? She did not listen to Fred, and she landed off-field 60 miles off course on that same trip several weeks before she was lost out of the over the ocean. 60 miles off course. I made it to the Amelia Earhart birthplace. I'm going to show you a couple clips here. Here's me at Amelia Earhart's birthplace in Atchison, Kansas. So what really happened to Amelia Earhart? I don't know. And I have not looked into it much. A long time ago, and I have not really studied it, so I'm not an expert, but I have had a chance to kick around and collect a few things, so I thought I'd make this video. Happened to be here today where the whole story started. This is the banks of the river in Atchison, Kansas, and I'm going to show you right now. This is where Amelia Earhart was born, in this house right here. Same cobblestone street, still here from the late 20s, early 30s. And this original home where she was born, upstairs in that back bedroom right there, Amelia's childhood room, her personal room, was that one right there. So just came in from outside, and now we're upstairs in the birthplace of Amelia Earhart here in Atchison, Kansas. This is the corner of the room. I'm not sure that this is the actual bed that she was born in or anything like that, but this is the room that she was born in. And then I'm going to step next door and show you Amelia's actual room. The whole place here is actually kind of fascinating, and a lot of artifacts here. But this is Amelia's room right here. This is her actual childhood room. Very original to the day, I think, even though a lot of this other stuff has been put in here since. Now the next thing is going to be to go downstairs, and I want to find the flight logs and the mystery of what really happened in the last communication. So let's go downstairs and see if we can dig into some flight logs. I know that she's a legend, and a lot of you people kind of put her on a pedestal, which is fine. The truth is, Amelia got pushed into this by men who wanted to capitalize on her being a woman and how unique that was for her to fly the airplane. I think that she was definitely a pilot. She was operating well beyond her capabilities in attempting that flight. The day that Amelia got lost, she took off on that flight. I'm going to show you the logbook here. Did you know that her planned flight was almost 20 hours to try to hit Howland Island? I'm going to show you a graphic of Howland Island. It's a tiny little place. They didn't even have the transmitter set up. There's supposed to be a U.S. government provided transmitter stuff. She took off knowing that they did not even have that transmitter set up and ready to try to hit Howland Island. Everything would have had to have been perfect. I think Amelia just splashed down in the water because she did not know where she was. Bad decision making, but mostly she was enabled by a bunch of men who wanted to capitalize on her success and the uniqueness of a woman flying around the world. That's really all that happened. I want to compare that to Devyn. Here's Devyn, very young person. She's very beautiful. They give her a T6. They give her a call sign. They give her a pink helmet. They put her name on the side of the airplane. She has a jumpsuit. Her jumpsuit has patches. She gets a T6 checkout in May. She thinks she's a T6 pilot. She's got all these men enabling her to do that. I feel really sorry for this unknowing guy, Zach, who did not know what the whole deal was here. Devyn, I'm sure she was an okay pilot. Was she T6 ready? Maybe she was. Probably wasn't. I'm going to tell you what happened to Devyn. What happened at Oshkosh this year due to the Canadian smoke and the haze. I talked to a lot of people who were flying out there over the lake. I saw the haze myself. The sunsets were spectacular that week because of the haze. If you get higher up over the lake, the smoke, the higher you go, the less vis you have, until eventually the heading that Devyn ended up on was a heading looking out the front of that T6. You can no longer see earth, sky. It's all water and sky. She thought that by climbing higher, the visibility was going to improve. The truth was, by climbing higher, she's climbing up into smoke. She climbed up into lesser vis. Now she's in a needle ball and airspeed T6. This was not a glass airplane. She had almost nothing for keeping the wings level. This airplane climbed. She wanted... That's what typically happens when people climb in low vis conditions. They keep on pulling back. Airspeed becomes an issue. We've all seen it. You're fighting to get higher, get higher, get higher. This airplane ran out of speed, and it rolled over on its right wing. The T6, it says in the manual, don't even spin it. Here's a picture of Devyn's cockpit. It says intentional spins prohibited. She's never spun this airplane. If you do an intentional spin, the T6, you're supposed to start it at 10,000 feet. There's a reason for that. It's got some bad spin characteristics. It's going to go over on its back, and it's going to wrap around. You would have to be Chuck Yeager to get this thing out of this thing from 4,000 feet. I don't even know if it's possible, but I think the whole thing caught her by surprise. When she took off from Oshkosh. She made a climbing right-hand turn right up into the traffic pattern. The NOTAM says don't do that. Here's Scott Purdue's take on Devyn's takeoff from AirVenture that day on runway 27.
Up until this point, the airplane was maneuvering totally within the Oshkosh Class D airspace. Not talking to anybody, not cleared for that kind of operation. It's still a towered airspace.
Now, I've already talked about Devyn's landing footage, her arrival in Oshkosh. She was assigned green dot. I'm going to show you some video footage shot from another airplane. Here's Devyn's airplane coming in, and here's the air traffic control communication assigning her green dot. When she got assigned green dot, she had about 3,100 feet remaining. The green dot to the very end is only 3,100.
The Texan, runway 27 on the green dot, clear to land.
Green dot, Texan.
Honor flight, check gears down. Honor flight, check gears down.
Lead the trend.
And honor flight, turn it in, honor flight, direct to the orange dot there, runway 27, clear to land. Sorry, direct to the numbers, clear to land.
Jump around.
Okay. Go and drop your arm. I'll hold that for him, but a bunch of arm.
She floated way past the green dot. That's how come she bounced. She wasn't in control. Not that we haven't all bounced and been out of control before, but you're at Oshkosh. Shouldn't have been there. Just shouldn't have been there. I'm going to show you a screen graphic from a guy named Rich Davidson who talked about this. I'm going to put his graphic up here. Here's his take. The concept is, do you care about someone enough to say no? I think he's got a very valid point here. At some point, somebody's got to have the courage to say, this doesn't make any sense. You're not ready. Let's not do this. Do you love her enough to tell her no? I can tell you, I love my kids enough that I have told them no on the stuff that they wanted to do. You're not ready for that. Not that you can't be someday, but you're not ready yet. It happens right now with Dylan learning to fly. Every now and then he has to go do something, and I say, no, can't do it. You're not ready yet. I'm your dad. You ain't doing that. That's a tough love. I think that Devyn got thrown a bunch of stuff. The men in her life wanted her to be successful. So they wanted to be a rising warbird star. They wanted to capitalize on the fame and glory of having the Reiley name be this fabulous girl. I think they pushed her too hard, just exactly like Amelia. And I know I'm going to get more hate mail for that, but I think that's really all that happened here. I think we should all learn from that. Everybody, male or female, flying airplanes, there's a progression that you need to go through. Getting up into the warbirds and the T6 and all those kind of things is entirely possible. It's a stepping stone process. I think Devyn got handed the perfect storm of a ride. It's Oshkosh. It's low vis. It's Canadian smoke. It's low vis, an antique airplane cockpit. Very little to go by there. The heading that she ended up on to the east, to the southeast, there's nothing to see, and she didn't know it. The higher she got, the less vis she had until that lake entirely went away, and now she's in a milk bowl spinning, and there's no way to get out. That thing would have been spinning so fast, it would have all looked milky white. There's no way to see. The vis that day was just not that good. All right, Dylan and I are going to jump in here, I hope, and record a quick song. We have not actually rehearsed this. I'm still working on the words to this, but the message here is, I want you to fly, which means I want you to maintain support for your wings. I want your wings to maintain lift. I want you to fly. I want Dylan to fly. I don't want you to lose lift. I don't want you to lose sustenance in order to end up with what you're doing here. I just want you to fly. Same thing. 1, 2, ready, go.